My cousin just defended her overweight son after he ate all my birthday cake before it was time to eat it. Reddit, have you ever seen a parent defend someone over something outrageous? More details. It was my birthday and my friends and family were over, which included my distant cousin and her 9-year-old overweight son. We just got done with the pizza and were about to go eat the cake when we walk in on the 9-year-old, who I'll call Jake. Jake had eaten all the cake and had frosting on his hands and around his mouth. Of course, right then Jake's mom comes in and says stuff like, "It's not his fault, and why is the cake out anyway?" Right then I told her, "Get out, now." And she said that she wouldn't, because, and I quote, "It's not only your birthday Mekarif, it's all of ours too." After that my mom stepped in and told her she needed to leave. Luckily we had a second cake and ate that instead. Unluckily for me it had no frosting, but unluckily for her she's not getting any Christmas presents. So here I am after my party, venting this on Reddit. TLDR, parent defended child after eating all my cake and insulted me on my birthday. So yeah, what kind of stupid parents have defended their horrible children? This is a quote from Bash. Now, I'm sure many of you have encountered little shits in supermarkets. Little kids running about and knocking things over, being rude, walking all over their parents, you know the kind. But the worst are the biters. Yes, those little cats that feel it is okay to bite you whenever they feel like it. Okay, here's the best part. A biter got me today when I was grocery stopping. He broke the ducking skin too. This was when the gears started turning. The moment I saw a tiny sprinkle of blood on the little shit's teeth as he was grinning at me like the little cunt he is. I made my eyes get wide and started screaming, "Shit. Shit." Now, my good friend, Tom we'll call him, was there too, and he instantly picked up on it. He started shouting, "Duck." Maybe he didn't get it. Duck. By now, the kid is scared shitless and starts crying. And instantly, Miss Mom appears out of nowhere and starts getting pissy at us for yelling at her kid. Here's the kicker. I look her straight in the eye and say, "Ma'am, get your son tested as soon as possible. He just bit me and I'm ducking HIV positive." And now there is silence. Not a peep in the entire store. The brat knows he just ducked up big time because his mom isn't defending his ass. She just stares at me wide-eyed. I walk away from them. Buy my shit from the wide-eyed cashier, all the while blood is dripping from my calf, making a nice little trail on the floor. And, just as we leave, we start to hear the mother sobbing. Sobbing like the cunt she is. I have never felt any more satisfaction than the moment I heard that sob. I was working retail one day, and this kid of about 6 to 9 years old comes in with his wail of a mother. It was a pretty busy day, and we had associates everywhere trying to get work done. Well, this kid comes in and starts picking up things off the shelves, looking at them briefly, and then proceeds to throw them over his shoulder and move on. I then have to approach them and ask them if they need any help finding something today. The boy just grunts and keeps moving on throwing things off the shelves. At his point I go grab my MOD and tell them to get him out of the store, because it's going to be my ass that has to clean that up. When he goes and approaches the woman, she starts yelling, "This is my ducking right and his ducking right as citizens of this country to do what we please." We had to threaten to call security to get them to leave. Some people. My uncle and his family live with my grandmother. His wife has an iPad that she lets her son use. He is 4. My grandmother also has an iPad but keeps it in her room mostly. Recently my cousin has been acting quite spoiled. The worst situation was when my uncle had friends over, and my cousin went into my grandmother's room and took her iPad while she was sleeping, took it outside and damaged it quite a bit. My grandmother was obviously not very happy, and she told my cousin that he was not allowed to use her iPad again. My useless aunt got pissed and started shouting at my grandmother, and telling her that he was just a baby and that she needed to stop picking on him. My cousin has also been known to hit her and break her things. My grandmother just takes it now. The worst part is that his parents don't correct him. My ex-sister-in-law defended her 13-year-old son after he punched a 2-year-old by saying, "He's got anger control issues, it's not his fault." Granted, she's right that he has issues, But when the 2-year-old's mom got angry, she acted like the other mom was crazy. Went into a shop where a little kid was running about crazy. I stand in line to ask the staff a question. The boy runs up and kicks me as hard as he can. Mother told me, "It is because you are a stranger." Yeah, because that absolves your asshole child from being wrong, does it? He is a stranger to me. I never kicked him in the face back, did I? Oh shit, forgot to add. My niece's birthday came and her brother decided to destroy the house because he wanted presents too, and it was unfair. His aunt, other side of family, said that it is okay, she will take him to get his presents, and it was our fault for not including him. The woman never even bought my niece anything, not even a sweet. Me and my mom had dinner at a restaurant, sitting outside. 2 tables over was a mother, a father, and their son. He was at least 8 years old, but was still wailing and crying, and being a general pain in the ass for a long time. After about 15 minutes of this shit, me and my mom turned and at the same time yelled, "Shut that kid up." Apparently we have a telepathic connection. The kid actually shut up in pure fear, and the parents yelled at us that we can't shout at a child like that, and that we were bad people and so on. So, yeah. Lesson? If you don't handle your kid, I sure as hell am going to. One day, I forgot my lunch and had to work a 10-hour shift. Luckily, one of my managers is amazing, and she bought me a few cookies, so I could have a snack until my boyfriend could bring me my lunch. At the counter at work, we have a smaller counter that's a bit lower than the counter. It's attached at the side. A man and his morbidly obese kid walk in, so I set my cookies down there until after I helped them. I turned around to get the father's coffee, and when I turned back, the kid was climbing on the counter and took one of my cookies. I had no idea what to say. When the father noticed, all he said was, "He has a learning disability." I was so shocked that I said, "Having an idiot for a parent isn't a disability." My manager insisted he pay for me to have a new cookie, but he said, "No, my son has a learning disability. This is discrimination." I hoped him and his porker of a kid drowned. My friend, my brother and his friend, and I were once at our summer house. So, my friend and I were jumping on our trampoline and having a blast, and my brother's friend comes along and picks up a rock, puts it in his slingshot and shoots it right in her left eye. So she is crying, and we both go to my dad, who is talking to my brother's friend's mother. We tell her, his mother, what happened, and my brother and his friend are right beside us, still playing with the slingshot, and his mother tells us how it wasn't his fault, that it was an accident, and that we were in the way of his slingshot, that it was our fault. She then proceeds to ask her son if he did it, while still kind of defending him, and he says the most priceless thing I've ever heard. "Yeah, I shot her in the eye." His mom is all quiet for a few seconds, and then proceeds to tell us that he's joking. He's now a criminal. I worked as a private investigator for a few years. I carry my gun all the time. One night my cousin comes to visit me with her 13-year-old son. More backstory. People within my family always consider me to be nice, strict, and fair. I am also ex-military. So, this little ducker gets into my room, broke the lock, loads my gun, Walter P5, and tries to leave with it. I am a ducking detective. I can tell you are acting funny. I ask him what is wrong. My cousin knows me well. She stops and stands in front of the door. This shitstick draws on me. I draw on him. S&W 44 Model 629. It's a much bigger gun. He drops the gun. His mother went apeshit. How can you point a gun at him? He wasn't going to shoot. You shouldn't have guns. She doesn't visit me anymore because I am a dangerous man that shoots at children. I was in a Walmart buying a frozen pizza for dinner a few weeks ago, and there was this kid, about 6 or 7, in front of me screaming because he wanted a candy bar. This old man in a wheelchair behind me yelled, "You're singing out of pitch. Sing it right or shut up." My greatest moment in Walmart. We have a small portion of our extended family that once was part of the military and moved to Alaska. Their patriarch was killed working on an oil field after he retired from the military, and they sued and received a massive settlement plus his life insurance, as well as his military pension. Cue the present day and imagine the Palins without ambition, gluttonous beyond mortal comprehension, and ongoing petty malevolent quarrels between them that stretch back decades over money. At some point around Christmas last year, the grandson of the deceased gained control over the estate of the matriarch, after she had a series of strokes from being £400 for 20 years. He had been taking care of her, going to college and taking care of a family of his own. So he asked for help from them, but all they were worried about was when she was going to die, so they could get more money, so he cut them all off. At the beginning of the summer, after 6 months or so of rehabilitation, she penned a new will and made it permanent after finding out what happened. She has 5 children, and they are all suing her. Her daughters have never had a job, ever. The other 2, the brothers, have ran a series of failed businesses into the ground, and owe money to the IRS, the state of Alaska, and banks. So, as it goes, I am a young professional, and beginning next month me and my fiance will be taking care of 2 of the older children, as they go to their first semester of college. Their parents have to sell their house to eat, and will be living out of an RV, their mom looking for her first job at 55. One girl is morbidly obese, and I was warned by her mother to not leave any sort of cheese, meat or prepared food in the fridge, or snacks in the pantry, and expect them to be there when I come back from work. The son, I have to make sure, never has access to my wallet, or he may steal my credit card information to buy Korean MMO currency. This is going to be interesting. I may regret this, but they are family. This kid lived in my neighborhood. Now at the time, he was a lot older than me. I was like 11, and he was probably around 17. He and his parents were loaded. They lived in this huge ass house, and the kid drove either a Porsche or a Lamborghini. The son was a douche. He'd blast music insanely loud in his car, drove 80 frigging miles an hour down our little street, almost hit me on my bike, more than once, and then would laugh, and ran my mother off the road 4 times. When she finally confronted him, he told her to get the hell away from me, you aren't my mother, rolled his window up, and sped off. When my dad found out, he was ticked. So me, my dad, and my mom drove down to their house to tell his parents. When we told them all about the incidents, what did they do? Thank us for being concerned parents and informing them before their son hurt or killed himself or others? No. The mom was upset at us, that was clear, but didn't really object, until the asshole of a father walked out and told us to get the hell off his property, and mind our own ducking business. He also threatened to have us arrested and said, there is nothing wrong with my son. My parents got pretty pissed and left, telling them, just saying, before we went home. Not 10 minutes later, what happened? The goddamn cops show up. The cops came to our front door, and let my father know that the dad of the kid called, saying we were threatening him and his son. My dad told his side of the story, and the cops agreed to let him off with a warning. The lengths some people will go to defend that their kids are perfect little angels is amazing. My parents have these friends who had a kid late in life, and they let that kid run ducking rampant. He curses, screams, kicks, bites, breaks shit, etc. One evening, we were all sitting out in their backyard at a barbecue, and this kid drops True on the porch steps and starts to take shit. His mom yelled, Bruce, god damn it, go further out for that. So the kid stops mid-shit, waddles further out into the yard with his pants around his ankles still, and finishes. When my mom tried to say something about it, the kid's mom got up in arms and said, what the hell are you expecting from him? He's only 5.